from Florida's Cape Canaveral Saturday and is scheduled to dock with the space station late this afternoon. NASA astronaut Nick Hague and cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov will join Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who've been at the space station a few weeks longer than scheduled due to technical issues. All 4 astronauts are scheduled to return to Earth on or about October 7th. Week 4 of the NFL kicks off today. The Minnesota Vikings will be in Green Bay to take on the Packers. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
We've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. Your ballots are in the mail. Mail them in today. Now there's something to vote for because there's a new marshal in town. Vote Derek Marshall for 23rd Congress.
Y'all know we need to change Congress. The current Congress does nothing but fight with each other. They've forgotten why we sent them there, to work. Let's marshal and fix our problems at the border. A comprehensive plan, not political rhetoric and infighting.
Yes, there's a new marshal in town.
The rent is too darn high. Let's marshal in affordable housing and real affordable universal health care. Better union jobs.
The current Congress member put his party first and not people. But there's a new marshal in town.
Our incumbent party politician voted no on the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill. He voted no to $3 billion in new funds for our district and no to 35,000 new jobs right here at home. He said, we need a secure border, but now he's rolled it back to play politics. We need to marshal real solutions.
Vote for Derek Marshall, because we've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. You can go to DerekMarshallCA.com, paid for by Derek Marshall for Congress.
My name is Derek Marshall, and I approve this message.
Sun City Plumbing reminds everyone, let's not forget about the brave men and women who stand guard. Show your appreciation with letters, care packages, or a simple thank you. Our support will keep America strong. This reminder, courtesy of Sun City Plumbing in Sun City. They're the professionals serving the area with quality, integrity, and dependability. For service or an estimate, call Sun City Plumbing at 951-679-5501.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents? All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. In business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family owned and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and in Fontana. Call them at 1-800-61-MAGIC. That's 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Auto Body says, drive carefully.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information. A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply.
You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen here on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve my situation and yours too. We all have to do better. We all are here to improve. And we're going to do it on the run this morning here. We've got to show our astuteness here. We've got to show our flexibility. We have a wonderful guest coming in to discuss the Rethink Your Drink program by CalFresh. Has to do with the fact that you're getting too much sugar, and I don't mean you're getting this kiss your sweetheart too much. I'm talking about you're drinking too much sugary drink. You're getting it from, man, I understand that in a 12-ounce drink, you may have up to 10 teaspoons of sugar. And that's a lot. So we'll get a chance to talk to some experts and concerned people about that a little bit later as we go into it. But immediately we have Ms. Vicki Davis here with us, and I know you may or may not remember Vicki for anything in specific, except that I know I've heard that name. Well, she's been in here to talk about homeless people. She's been here to talk about people who have different afflictions and ailments. She's been in here to talk about events and activities designed to educate people, to actually just let you have fun. And she's a very, very busy person. And you know what they say, if you want something done, find somebody busy, and they can usually figure out a way to fit their time in. And guess what? Miss Vicki has decided that she's not busy enough. She is a candidate for Rialto City Council. Miss Vicki, how do you do it?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me, Mr. Wallace. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. You know, every time I brush up against you, I get an extra pound of energy some kind of way. So we're in great shape on that part. So why are you running for city council?
You know, now is a time for us to have community-centered policy in our city. And so because I have a strong background in community organizing, I've been advocating in Rialto for many, many years, and I grew up in Rialto. I have been called to participate in a new level of community organizing, and I'm excited to be able to make sure that as a member of City Council, we focus on the community, the well-being of the community as our primary focus.
That would suggest that as you look at the existing city council, you think they're not focusing on the community. What's the error of their ways, and how do you think you're going to fix it?
I just think that sometimes policy becomes removed from people, and the way to remedy that is to make sure that our council is in fact interacting with the people of the community in a way that allows their voices to be heard regularly, and educating them on how they can be civically engaged year-round, not just during election times, so that the voices of the people can be reflected in the plans for the city.
How do you anticipate doing that? I understand that most cities have commissions and planning meetings and things of that sort, and the public is generally welcome. What do you plan to do to make the public decide to come hang out at city council meetings and commission meetings instead of watching TV and going to restaurants and hanging out with their kids?
You know what, Mr. Wallace, you know that I have a background in mental health. And one of the biggest rules in mental health is to meet people where they're at. Okay. And that means that as a clinician or a therapist, I don't expect people to come to me or people to learn up to where I am at so that they can, benefit themselves. Instead, I have to be taking the initiative in being where they are so that they can benefit from the resources that I have to offer them. And I think the same plays for our city council in that, yes, there are spaces that people can choose to participate in if we're able to peel them away, like you said, from their family obligations or from their one day of rest or, whatever it may be that's occupying their time. But it is much, much more effective and empathetic and considerate and people-centered if we have spaces that we are regularly attempting to meet the people where they're at. That is, during what I have seen, this is my first political race, by the way.
This is your first
My first attempt, yes. So what I have noticed is that during this election season, the efforts to reach people on the individual level go from sometimes nothing to like over 100%, right? Like we can't even, an avalanche and a bombardment, right? But I believe that there should be.
We're going to take a short break.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about. We're going to take a short break, acknowledge that we're on Route 66. And we're going to hear from our sponsor, West Side Story newspaper. And it will be right back.
Okay.
More than 2,000 miles all the way.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
If you ever plan to motor west,
yeah, we had and keep the music up.
Take the highway. That's the
all right, we had a little misconnection there with Mr. Nat King Cole. He stopped into Meatless Cafe there and forgot to take his microphone with him. So that was that little quiet section that we had there. And if you go into Meatless Cafe, right there on Mount Vernon Avenue, just about 2 blocks north of 5th Street, the only thing quiet would be, there's not going to be quiet. You're going to be enjoying your meal and you'll be happy about paying for whatever you order. So I suggest that you enjoy Route 66 and you give yourself a shot at a good meal at Meatless Cafe. I think you'll enjoy that. We're sitting here talking with potential Rialto City Council member Vicki Davis. And Vicki's explaining to us how she anticipates some one-on-one conversations as well as some large audiences as she pulls her new policy or her methodology of involving the community in community or in city decisions and creating city policy. I said silly by accident, but maybe that was just a Freudian slip. Some of us consider some of the policies of our cities and counties and states as being a little silly. And the lack of policy in some cases being silly. I guess I said that so I could bring up the city of Palm Springs and their awkward response to the burning of homes in 1966 and 67, burning down the homes of African Americans, Asians, brown people, and Indians, because the city wanted the property. And the city decided not to go through the policy that was in front of them of eminent domain and knocking on doors and giving people warnings and time slots for doing what they were going to do. They just went in and burned people's houses down. Yeah, sure they did. People come home from work, come home from school, and the house is gone. Well, the city of Palm Springs has apologized, but they haven't come up with anything that was not insulting in that apology because of the way they've offered, the amount of money they've offered, and the things that they've made people go through. So what we want to look at is how do we soften that up? Well, if you're in the city of Rialto and you're about to elect somebody for your city council person, Vicki Davis is saying vote for her because she'll include you as the public in making policy decisions. Once again, how do we do that, Vicki? We already have access to city council meetings and commission meetings through TV, and the meetings are open. Are you suggesting that you'll have meetings outside of those places, bring people together outside of those places, or somehow get more people to decide not to watch TV, hang out?
Yeah, there's no easy way to go about it. There's no broad stroke solution that is going to increase the interaction. The only way to do it is the same way that you create community, and that is person by person. So with the same efforts that many campaigns put forth to just have people know their names and say, elect me or choose me, beyond the election season, there should be efforts to continue to communicate with the constituents on an individual and regular basis to simply ask, how are you? How are things going for you? What does it look like right now in your neighborhood? And what do you need, or what do you feel like we need? And we should be taking notes on that year round. Organizations create complaint forms and grievance policies and all kinds of things all the time that never get used. And that is because those things do not meet the people where they're at. So when I say meet the people where they're at, I mean strategic and intentional interaction with people on the individual level to encourage them and to empathize with them and to listen to them about what they feel needs to happen in the city to improve their quality of life and affect their well-being overall long term.
So there are methods that people have to complain and let the city or the municipality know that they're not happy. And I'm sure there are people who are complaining.
Yeah.
What are some of the complaints that are catching your ear? What are some of the policies, or what is a particular policy that you would be advocating for that you see lacking in the city now?
Safety is always number one at the top of the list for me, because with a background in mental health, I understand that everything else is built on safety. And so when we have our, police force inundated with potentially individuals who need preventative care as far as mental health is concerned, then that tells me that we need to have in place as a city more policies that address preventative mental health concerns. And that looks like developing policies that normalize seeking mental health services early, even as early as kindergarten, right, where we're introducing these concepts so that individuals are able to recognize the early warning signs of mental illness, and when they do, they feel comfortable seeking support so that those symptoms are not going untreated and landing in the laps of our police department.
So one of the things that concerns you is that maybe our police resources are being misused in having to deal with people who have mental issues as
Right.
opposed to people who are involved in basic criminal activity.
Absolutely.
So what would something like that look like?
So right now I supervise a clinical program that provides groups, that provides classroom presentations, that provides one-on-one screenings to support individuals in linking them to the appropriate services early on. And so that means we don't wait for them to come to us. We develop events, we develop workshops or talks, and bring them to those schools or to those families and offer them so that they can get the benefits of those resources before there's a problem. Because right now, many of the policies that we have in place, even internationally, often operate off of a disease model thinking. That is, there's a problem, then we try to create a policy to address that problem. But rather, we should be creating policies based on foresight so that we can do preventative care as opposed to trying to cure something that's already afflicting us.
Now that sounds like a worthy project, because people have told me for years that I should be more sensitive to mental health needs, particularly mine. but those things cost money. The next thing about any city or municipality is, how do we afford to do what we want to do? Mm-hmm. How do we increase our economic anchoring? What are your thoughts about the economy of the city and how you would increase cash flow or increase resources for the city?
Well, our city...
as a city council person.
Yes. One thing that comes to mind is, the way that our city is distributing our CDBG funding, because right now, as of last year, we had many organizations who were not able to utilize that funding because they didn't understand how to do the paperwork. They weren't able to reach the participants who qualified under the guidelines of being able to distribute that funding, or other, small idiosyncrasy type issues that really the city could utilize some of that funding and administratively to create something like what I'm talking about as far as small businesses is concerned, which would be an educational institute that understands that we need prevention, in the sense that organizations or businesses will try to take on this funding but won't understand the paperwork, but won't, have the means to reach the people that qualify.
Federal
to
grants and state grants are one way, of course, to participate. Mm-hmm. One of the other things is bringing business to town, increasing your tax base, mm-hmm. and things of that sort. We, in all of the cities that are blessed to be adjacent to freeways and traffic of that sort, are building warehouses. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, I was told yesterday by my mother that she needed a product that she wouldn't be able to get for a couple of days, and that I should bring some of mine over. And I did. I said, well, okay, no problem, Mom. But as I did that with enthusiasm, it was because my wife got on the phone and found that I could have it delivered today. That was yesterday. That means one-day delivery, the whole deal. I said, wow, I'll have to get me some and get Mom some. So the warehouses have a means of contributing, mm-hmm. and certainly they have a way of causing immediate concern to the residents around them. We'll take a short break and give you a chance to marinate on that and give us a thought or two, and then we come back. We're going to introduce ourselves to the Rethink Your Drink group and talk a little bit about that, but I'd like for you to hang around. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. On the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. That's Mr. Nat King Cole, reminding us that when they built Route 66 from Chicago to LA, the whole goal really was to be able to ride through the Inland Empire. And they come right down through the middle of Rialto, as a matter of fact. So we're talking about developing businesses and increasing the tax flow and things of that sort in Rialto. Ms. Vicki Davis, candidate, tell us a little bit more about how you would increase Rialto's resources and help pay for some of the great things that you'd like to see happening there.
Yeah, so you were talking a little bit about warehouses, and I do believe that, while warehouses are, vital for increasing economic growth and, commerce in our city, it has to be a balance between that and the small business, because the small business creates, long-term sustainability for the residents of our city, and also the small business creates, builds character and individuality in our cities. So this comes down to, again, really having space for the small businesses to voice their needs and their concerns, and creating dialogue and conversation that lends itself to, balance. Balance. It can't be all one way or the other. There are nuances to each venture that both will grow and also,
I like that. I like the concept of the balance. We're not going to kick you out of here. I'd like for you to stick around. But we are going to kind of switch reels a little bit, because as you talk about balance, it reminds me that, we get thirsty and we want to satisfy our thirst. But we also have a need that whatever we put in our bodies to satisfy that thirst doesn't overbalance or take us out of balance, because I'm thirsty, now I'm going to drink something, but instead of being quenched with my thirst, I'm being overburdened with sugar. Sugar, the state of California, CalFresh, has a program that is called, basically, what is it? What did I say there? Rethink the Drink, that's right. Now, we have Dr. Maximilian Chambers with us. He's a dedicated dental professional, public health advocate, and he brings over a decade of experience in dental care and health equity advocacy. He works at InterCare, a federally qualified health center in Imperial and Riverside counties, where he focuses on enhancing oral health care outcomes, addressing health care disparities, and serves as a consulting dentist for the Imperial County Oral Health Task Force. Okay. That's the health. Those are the people that once you drink a lot of sugar, they were trying to interrupt us here. But he's involved with caring, obviously, about our kids' teeth. He understands that, and he tells us that between the ages of 12 and 18, our young folks are drinking twice the amount of sugary drinks that they should. Doc, how are you this morning?
Doing very well, Mr. Allen. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're doing well, and you're going to do some good for our kids here, or you're doing good for our kids, and I'm sure you work on some older mouths too. And my teeth are saying, "Can you help me? Can you help me?" I don't know if you may hear that echo as we go through this. So, being a dentist, being involved as you are, what is this Rethink Your Drink program basically about? What does it do for you as you are an advocate, and what is it designed to do for us in the state of California?
Of course. So, as you mentioned, Rethink Your Drink is coordinated by the California Department of Public Health and their CalFresh Healthy Living program to encourage Californians, and especially us as in our communities, to reduce our intake of sugar and sweetened beverages, to make more informed, healthier choices for not only yourself, but for your families as well. This is a year-round effort bringing together local health departments, health educators, community organizations, and other stakeholders to kind of raise awareness about healthier beverage choices, healthier snack choices, and the risks of consuming too much sugar.
So what does that matter to people that are listening to this program? You're drinking too much drinking too much sugar. How does that affect us individually and as a community?
Thinking about it individually, it's increasing our risk of developing chronic diseases, especially in our children, developing diabetes, heart disease, and tooth decay. And that risk is higher with us in our Black community than it is compared to our non-Hispanic, non-white counterparts. And I think about it in the sense of, in the community, we have known, this is not a new statistic, that African Americans are consistently the leader of when it comes to obesity, when it comes to heart disease diagnosis, and it's really a shame. It's trying to change the narrative of being that denominator, and we want to see our communities healthier, see our families healthier, see our children healthier.
This would be part of what I call the state of emergency in the Black community. It's one of the pillars, our health care, the things that we're talked into doing. What causes this attraction to the sugary drinks, especially in the African American community? Are there any special activities that target the African American community? Is there anything within the African American community that magnetizes us to sugar?
I think culturally, I think that's cultural. I mean, we've all had cookouts. We've all been to grandma's house, and it's a cultural thing. The foods we eat, the drinks, where there's Kool-Aid, where there's pop or soda, where there's sweet tea. It's just ingrained in us from a early age that these things are okay, and they've been okay for generations. However, when we look at the data, it's not okay. It's really great risk to us. And these sugary drinks are leading to higher blood pressure, hypertension, and greater risk of development of disease among African American men, who on average consume more sugary drinks than other groups. And I think part of that is when it's been ingrained in us. It's something that's been going on for generations, something that we haven't been taught, hey, there isn't a healthier option, and we haven't been encouraged until now to choose that healthier option.
Well, our big soda companies, the cola guys, they spend a lot of money letting us know that, ooh, this is your lifestyle. This is great for you. This is you're missing out if you don't do this. Your life is so much better. It makes you cute. It makes your hair grow. It makes your car look even better. How do we fight this? How do we dispute this thing that causes such health risk that we're willing to continue to risk our lives like this? And I know we hear about it, and we talk about it, and how much we talk about it is almost to the point of where people they don't want to hear it. But no one that I know of could say that they've heard that sugar is good for them. Then no one that I know of can say that they haven't heard that, man, too much sugar is bad for you. How do we get around to this? I mean, okay, let's discuss some of the health risks. Maybe that'll encourage people? We talk about the diabetes. How much does sugar really involve itself with creating the diabetes? We've heard Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but research is, so one, to kind of answer that first general question is everything we do in every waking moment that we is a decision. It's a result of a choice that's being made. Whether we are, aware of that choice being made or unaware, everything is the result of the choice that we make. And I think, honestly, it's being more conscious and being more intentful about choosing a healthier beverage. But when we look at the research, African American women who drink 1 to 2 sugary beverages a day have an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. When we look at drinking as little as those 2 glasses of sugary beverages can increase risk of death by these cardiovascular events by 21%.
Yeah, it's
insane.
The amount of sugar that our, health, who monitors the sugar? I mean, is there a government agency that stands up and says, well, you can only put a certain amount of sugar in your drinks? Or are we just left to the decisions of the beverage makers?
I think that's an interesting question. It's a unique perspective in the sense of I ask the same question, but a different way.
Okay.
If you know that water is a healthy choice, we know that. And I've never, like you said, you've never heard anyone say too much sugar is good for you. I've never heard anyone say that water is bad for you. And if we know that there is a healthier choice, then why can't we hold ourselves accountable to choose that healthier choice? That's the bigger question, and that's the bigger question. And it could come down to, just having the knowledge about how to choose a healthier choice. What am I looking for when I'm looking at these healthier choices? Because everything says 0 calories or 0 sugar, but does that mean what it's truly saying? And I think it's really
is there something else they can add that is sugar that allows them to say no sugar added?
Yes. There is. I mean, that's the sweetened part of the sugary beverages.
I want to talk to my city council candidate here.
Sounds like a question of transparency.
How can we let them say no sugar added, and they've added something that is equally as bad as sugar, is simply called googly wabba? That's a problem. And one of the things that I think we can acknowledge too is you're a dentist. You're looking at tooth decay, and we're looking at the fact that when you're young and you get that first set of teeth, you're going to get a second set. How often do you run into parents who ignore the need of taking care of the first set of teeth, which sets the kids off into a bad habit of taking care of their teeth for life, with the idea that, well, they're going to lose their teeth anyway, and so we don't need to worry about that. Do you run into that as a dentist? I know that I've run into it as a parent, an aunt, an uncle, just a nosy person.
Of course, no, all the time. And it's a misconception that, they're only going to have these teeth for so long, and we don't need to fix it, and it's okay if they have these cavities. But the reason why they have cavities is because the habits that promote good oral hygiene haven't been truly established. So if you don't have the habits to brush your teeth twice a day and floss your teeth every day, you're not going to do anything more with your adult teeth than you've done with your baby teeth besides rot them away if you're not taking care of them. And so I see that all the time, and it is a misconception, but that's the narrative, a part of the narrative that we're trying to change. It's like, no, this set is important because it sets up the spacing. It allows for the adult teeth to come in properly, and when those teeth are healthy, it means kids aren't in pain. They're not missing school. Then it means that they're able to focus more in school because they're not focused on that pain, and decreases their risk of tooth infection.
Well, it's really interesting how our attitudes affect us here. When we're looking actually for a healthier drink, with the idea that, well, I've heard this stuff, I listened to Wallace and I listened to Doc McMillian today, and I'm going to be looking for a healthier drink. So they go into the store and they want to read the label.
Yep.
They left their glasses in the car. So the label that talks about the ingredients is in 3-point type. You can't read it, and that's another thing we'll talk to the future candidate about, future city council about. How do we read these things, and what should we be looking for, and understanding that they can substitute sweeteners for the sugar and not call it sugar. How can we really tell that we're getting a healthy drink? Like you said, water. Now they'll do things to water that can make it very, well, I don't know. I want to say water is healthy, but then if we get involved and we start looking at the mercury content and the lead content and stuff like that, we get scared again. What are we able to look for that's almost a solid signal that something is okay in terms of our drink, so that we are rethinking our drink?
I think the most crucial point to look at here is just being familiar with like the general headlines of not the ingredient list. The ingredient list, yes, that 0.3 font can be hard to read, but like the general headlines, like carbs, like sugars, like sodium, that are found that are found nice big right underneath the calories in your daily values. Those are big, and I think educating our people and empowering them to make that, like with that knowledge, to make that decision is going to be important. So we're looking for, first off, the sugar content, and if it's 100% fruit juice, it should say, if it says 100% fruit juice on the label, you'll look at the sugar content, and you should see one line that says sugar, and it gives you this number of how much sugar is in there, and that should constitute and make up 100% of the sugar that's found within this. Oftentimes, and where we may get confused, and where we may get confused is there's sometimes a added sugar content. So you have the total sugar, and it'll say, oh, the total sugar makes up 80%, but then there's an additional added sugar content that could make up 20%. And it's the added sugar that we're looking for. It's that added sugar that is not supposed to be there. If this is a fruit, if this is an orange that we picked off from the tree and we squeeze it, and all of the sugar that should be in that drink is coming directly from the orange. There should be nothing else added to it. And that's how we make those informed decisions. There should be no ingredients that have syrup, corn syrup, fructose syrup, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. Or it shouldn't be juice concentrate.
So if
juice concentrate means added sugar.
Juice concentrate means automatically added sugar.
Yeah.
So if they say juice concentrate, they should not be able to say no added sugar on that label.
Correct.
They'll get tricky with those.
Nothing from concentrate.
100% juice from concentrate, and the from concentrate will be very, very small there. So you just have to pay attention.
And that's it. And Vicki, you hit the nail right on the head. Like, you've got to be like really cognizant and looking at those things. And yes, it's in small print, but in that from concentrate, 100% juice from concentrate. Okay, now I'm looking at the label, and because it's from concentrate, you should see that there's going to be an additional line of additional sugar content from somewhere else right underneath that head label for sugar.
You know, I'm reading some notes here, and it talks about example of soda and fruit drinks contain the higher added sugar content with around 10, listen up people, with around 10 teaspoons of added sugar per 12-ounce serving. Energy drinks, maybe 9 teaspoons. Even sweetened teas and sports drinks can have 7 and 5 teaspoons of sugar added per ounce. Is that right?
12 ounces.
Yeah,
Per 12
correct.
ounces.
Yep, that's correct.
Wow. Yeah, we need to be able to do something with this. Besides, we can appreciate the advocacy, we can appreciate the reasoning, but people move too quickly to go through this. People are on such survival syndromes that something wet for some reason they think is quenching their thirst. And some cases, all the sugar, it makes them thirstier, right? Is that one of the things that sugar does? Makes you thirsty?
If it's truly, honestly, if it's not water, it's not hydrating. It's not as hydrating as you could be. I mean, it's not as hydrating as it could be, and that's the issue. These choices are placed in front of us, and they're placed closer to us, making it seem as if it's easier to just, okay, this is also good for me. But that's why education and empowering our people is essential to, hey, there is actually a healthier option. And some of these options are ones that we can even make ourselves. Like I've got 5 daughters, and I just made a strawberry infused lemon water, and they loved it.
You said you have 5 daughters?
Yes, I do.
Oh my goodness!
Tell me about it.
We're not going to take the whole minute to do this, but we're going to have a minute of silence for you. But we just can't afford to take it right now. But I can, 5 daughters. God bless you. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Yes, sir.
It's a great time.
Yeah, it is.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. And I know there's tremendous joy in there because they probably all love you to death because they can all twist you around their little fingers. And you probably have been in Fort. You probably look like a pretzel. I admire that. That's a wonderful thing. You're doing great. Made me forget what I was going to say. But 5 daughters. God bless you. That's amazing. That is amazing. With the idea that, let me get my mind back on this. 5 daughters. Okay, you were talking about how you have convinced them to avoid sugary drinks. Tell us about what you've done.
Start early. I start early, like from the jump. When they're no longer drinking milk, to drinking milk and nursing with mom, they're going to want something to drink, and that drink is going to be water or 100% fruit juice, and even the 100% fruit juice is going to be watered down, simply because it's establishing those habits, establishing that expectation of what I want you to choose for your own health early on. Early on in such a point where it's like, they're making these decisions and they don't even know why, but they're choosing healthier automatically.
Right.
And so when we have soda, when we have pop, it's not really a can of some cola that we bought from the store. It is sparkling water, 100% fruit juice, and that's our soda. And
then you have to get them used.
They know it is soda.
You have to get them used to that before they learn to read. Because,
exactly.
Yeah,
you have to.
Because my 5-year-old,
it's going to be so much easier.
My 5-year-old granddaughter, we used to be able to just fool her and say, "Well, yeah, this is." She said, "No, Papa," and then she'll read the label. I said, "Oh, we have to come with some more reasoning here." My daughter insists that you give them water, part water with the juice. One of the things that terminology is so important. In my era, we would work to satisfy our thirst. I hear people now talking about hydration. Is there a difference, Doc, to be hydrated and to just satisfy your thirst?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a difference. I mean, sometimes even okay, let's just think about it. Even in water, like if I'm drinking a glass of water, and I have a choice. That water is either sparkling or still. It's coming out right out the faucet, or it has bubbles in it. Like both of them are equally hydrating, but there's something about a sparkling water, that crispness afterwards that's added by the bubbles that makes it a little bit more quenching. So there's that's the difference. It's like, do I want to be quenched and hydrated, or do I just want to be hydrated? And there's a time, at least for me, there's a time and place for both. Like sometimes I want sparkling water, and sometimes a bottle of water from the sink, or a glass of water from the sink is just fine for me as well.
Well, here's the sneaky reason that I asked that question. I've been trying to hydrate and hydrate by drinking as little water as possible. Not because I don't want to drink water, but because I'm just not in the habit of drinking it like I should be. So I said, wow, when babies need to be hydrated, they give them Pedialyte. And I read where Pedialyte gives you more hydration than even water. I said, wow, how is that possible? And I'm wondering, am I eating a trick here? Or am I really hydrating or giving myself a better chance of getting what water is supposed to give me by taking and drinking Pedialyte than I would be by drinking more water? How's that, Doc?
So that you got me. I think at the end of the day, there is no beverage that is more hydrating than water. I think than water with a balanced diet. If you have a multivitamin and you have a balanced diet, and you've got the recommended sodium and fats and carbs that you're taking in with what you're eating, then there's no beverage that's more hydrating than water.
Man, you just saved me some money. Because I've been buying and drinking that stuff, and it works really good with my smoothie. It makes my spirulina not even taste like spirulina. I may keep drinking it for that purpose, but water.
I think it comes down to the sense of just understanding that there's a time and a place for Pedialyte, and there's a time and a place for and there's appropriate uses. Pedialyte is like an oral hydration, and it's specifically formulated to prevent dehydration. Okay, repeat. Let me just repeat that. It is a rehydration solution that prevents and treats dehydration. It is not a hydrating. It's not a hydration solution that should be solely for hydration. And water is solely for hydration. Pedialyte is to prevent and treat dehydration. That's the difference.
That's a great.
And yes, it contains electrolytes and sugars, but water serves as the base for hydration. Water hydrates. The sugar content in it, the electrolytes, they help to prevent further dehydration. But the hydrating part of that is the water that you're drinking.
So the bottom line is that if we really want a healthy drink, if we really want our body to benefit from the liquid that we put in our body, water has got to be it is the magic potion.
The universal hydrator.
Universal hydrator. I love that. Doc, what can parents do really quick to get more information? And I think we just gave it to them there. Don't let yourself get fooled by advertising, and don't worry a whole lot about these labels. The big deal is to convince your kids and yourself that water is the solution. And the earlier you start with that in their life, so that it becomes their lifestyle, the better we're going to be. My father passed away 2 years ago, and during the last 6 months of his life, Dad, you need to drink a little more water. Yeah, I know it. Well, Dad, would you want some water? Nah, I don't like this stuff.
Terrible.
And he says, heck, I'm 96 years old. I do what I want to do. What could I say? He said, well, Dad, I think you should drink a little more water. Yeah. So
I think I would point parents to, first off, uncoverhealthyhabits.com. Or follow Cal Fresh Healthy Living on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. If you want to learn more and be inspired to make changes, explore some of those recipes and resources. My words of wisdom that I hope that anyone listening to this takes away is choose water, milk, or 100% fruit juice over anything else. To limit the intake of the sugar and that you're bringing into your body, and it could be in the form of coffee that you're taking to work. That sugar can be found in the energy drink before you go to the gym.
Right.
It's not I'm not asking you to replace every single drink every single time with water. Like, although it would be ideal if you didn't. No, it's a change. It's a habit. It's something that has to be formed. So in one of those instances,
Doc, we're
choose something healthier.
We're on the quickest hour on radio, and time is running out. And we want to thank you, Dr. Chambers, for your advocacy and for your information this morning, especially about Pedialyte. Your boy Wallace has been educated. I am changing up on that aspect for sure, and I'm going to be able to say, Dr. Chambers hooked me up, and I appreciate you and Cal Fresh. Thank you very much, and we look forward to talking to you in the future. You've got it. Well, now, Miss Vicki Davis, we've heard about unfair labeling, not just unfair, but lying on the labels. We've heard about how easy it is for the advertisers to get around telling the truth. I don't know how you can fit that in your position as city council person, but when you win, I certainly hope that you'll remember that part of it and try to figure it out. What are the final words that you'd like to say before we close out? We've got about a minute for you.
I would like to say, first of all, thank you for having me, Mr. Wallace. I appreciate you and all the support throughout the years.
Don't waste your time. You only got 30 seconds.
I would also like to say, if you would like to know any more about my platform, you can visit my website at electvickydavis.com. Elect, VICKIE, Davis.com. And then I would also like to invite everyone out to the 6th annual expo that we're having at Rialto City Park on October 5th at 10 a.m. There's a bunch of free events happening over there.
And that's not a political event.
That is not a political event.
That's just part of those other caps that she wears, making people come out. Vicki, we appreciate you spending time with us. We appreciate that you have dedicated your time so much to your city and community, and that you're able to squeeze in it. This is how you create an extra 4 or 5 hours a day. I don't know how they do it, but people like Vicki can do it. Everybody else has got 20.
Sometimes I need 12 or 14 extra.
Everybody else is limited to 24. Somehow she's got 26. I don't know. Vicki, God bless you, and thank you for what you're doing. Anthony, thank you for your great work. We appreciate the Mood Master doing what he does. And Rick Rule, thank you for doing what you're doing today. We appreciate it. See you guys, and don't forget, stop the hate. Stop the hate. And I'm talking to you, City Council of Palm Springs. You guys give these guys the money that they deserve. Give them some respect. Stop the hate. We'll talk again to the people from Palm Springs in the next couple of weeks and let you guys know that we're talking about hate that's been here since '68. We'll be back next week under 2 circumstances. 1, if the good Lord's willing. 2, if the creek don't rise. Stop the hate.
On Route 66.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Millions are without power and dozens are dead after Hurricane Helene slammed the southeastern U.S. Some of the heaviest damage is from severe flooding, with the city of Asheville, North Carolina, nearly cut off from the outside world.
It's beyond anything I've ever seen in my lifetime. We're very fortunate that we're alive.
Entire houses are missing or flattened in on themselves.
The city of about 95,000 remains isolated with almost no cell phone or internet coverage. Over 400 roads and several major highways were closed in North Carolina alone. Helene roared onto the Florida coast Thursday with 140-mile-an-hour winds and left a trail of destruction across the region. Officials say at least 63 deaths have been confirmed in multiple states, including Georgia, Florida, and the Carolinas. Overseas, Israel claims another major Hezbollah figure has been killed following more missile strikes into Lebanon today. Israel's military said it killed Nabil Kauk, deputy head of Hezbollah's Central Council. The IDF posted on social media that Kauk had been with Hezbollah for about 40 years and was directly engaged in terrorist attacks. Kauk's death comes 2 days after IDF airstrikes killed Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. An American astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut are on their way to the International Space Station. The SpaceX Dragon Freedom Storm took off from Florida's Cape Canaveral Saturday and is scheduled to dock with the space station late this afternoon. NASA astronaut Nick Hague and cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov will join Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who've been at the space station a few weeks longer than scheduled due to technical issues. All 4 astronauts are scheduled to return to Earth on or about October 7th. Week 4 of the NFL kicks off today. The Minnesota Vikings will be in Green Bay to take on the Packers. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
The views of the individuals expressed in the following program do not represent Broadcast Management Services, Inc., KCAA, management, or personnel.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.
Portions of the show may be previously recorded. Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Listen and grow as Del questions the status quo, encourages you to think differently, and empowers you to make a better life. Get ready as Del challenges core beliefs, seeks the truth, and reveals the roadmap to the lifestyle you really want. And now your host, multi-millionaire, national award-winning investor, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Well, my friends, I've just come back from Richmond, Virginia, and boy, I'll tell you what a great event that was. I really enjoyed it. The people there were wonderful, and we had a great case study. And then afterwards, Chris did the 2-day. It was just a wonderful time. But I want to tell you in this show today that I've got to share with you some of these case study events, case study stories that I saw there. They were really interesting. In fact, I have to say that all 3 of the stories were interesting in a completely different manner. And both of them kind of blew my hair back, what little hair I have left on my head. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about something you can attend, because that is already past tense. But what you can attend coming up is the Wealth and Passive Income Expo and Masters Tour in Irving, Texas. This is our once-a-year event. This is the largest real estate training event in the country. I know everybody says theirs is the largest, but ours is the largest actual real estate training event. I think there's probably other business training events out there that might be larger, but we're 4,000 or 5,000 people, so we're right up there. But we're the largest actual real estate training event out there in the country. You don't want to miss this. What is it? It's everything you can think of. We started off with the people that want to go on the road trip. This is the Masters Road Trip Tour. It's the unbelievable thing. I've never met a person went on the tour, didn't come off of them and say, I got every cent of my money. And I learned more in, a day in real estate than I could have ever. What do? One day we go out and hit 4 properties. The second day we go out and we hit 4 more apartment complexes. So we're hitting 4 apartment complexes one day, 4 apartment complexes the next day. The members that own these complexes are taking us through and showing us all of the beginning shots of what it looked like, pictures and so forth, and then the after live event. In other words, you're getting to see the property live. They show you pictures of what it started like, and then they show you what it's like now completed. They show you the income it had when they started. They show you the income it has now. It's just amazing. You will learn so many tips and tricks and things. And if you're a passive investor, you're going to be able to find out what the big boys do, what the really good investors are doing to make a difference. So this is just something you can't afford to miss. If you truly want to be an apartment investor, whether it is an IRO, independent owner, buy your own apartment, or whether it be a lead, which is what I call syndicators that have gone through our program and got certified to be a syndicator, or you want to be a passive, which is what we call the people that have gone through the program and certified themselves as passive investors, so they know what they're doing. We put these deals, we don't put the deals together, but these lead investors put the deals together. Although one of my real estate companies might have brought them the deal, but they're putting it together, it's their deal, and it's their deal with their passive investors. There's 8 of these deals you're going to get to see. Now, you can sign up for one day because, quite granted, after 4 of them, you might be overloaded. I mean, your brain might be going, disconnect, like, it's too much. Some people are gluttons for punishment, like I am. I demanded to have 2 days. Originally, it was just 1 day, and I said, we got to get. There was 2 different sets of properties. We'd each split up and go, half the people to one set and half the people to the other set. Well, I said, I want to see them both. That's how exciting. And say for me, I've been doing this for 34 years, and it's still that exciting to see these deals. It blows your mind. I'm telling you, it blows my mind. When you go into these apartments, you see complete turnaround, changeover. It's just unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to tell you about one of these stories here today about a turnaround apartment complex deal. But I want you to understand that that's how we kick this thing off. Then, by the way, this year it's in Irving, Texas, and it's from October 2nd, October 5th. So we start off with that, and then what we go to is we have educational classes. We take over the whole convention center, and I don't know how many classes there are. I'll get the info here in the next couple of days and give you the details, but we have classes and classes and classes. We also have a vendor area where you can go in and meet hundreds of vendors. You want to do something, you need this kind of vendor, they're going to be at this event, so you can meet all the vendors. We have national vendors that you can meet. So no matter where you're from, you can get this. In fact, most people travel here, and we have booked rooms, and we have booked blocks of rooms, and they fill up fast. Even though we've blocked tons of rooms out in the hotels, they're just, if you don't register right away, you may not be able to get a room close. If you get registered right away, you can get a room that's just walking distance from the auditorium or whatever it's called. Convention center, I guess is what you would call it. But you've got all these classes you go to. Then we have we have major events where we have major speakers going off in rooms and having these special, what would you say, classes. And then we have the main event where I'm going to get up there and speak. And this year we're going to have a women's panel. You want to learn what women are doing in real estate? Women's panel. Women, get there. We're going to have a passive panel. You want to find out what's going on with people that are investing passive? Come to the thing and meet the passive panel. I've got a whole genre of people from quick start apartment deals to medium-long apartment deals to long-range apartment deals and lifetime type apartment deals. So I'm going to expose the variety of options of ways you can invest and the people that have chosen the different ways and why they chose them. So you're going to get these different, the opportunity to see different opinions of how this stuff really works. All that's coming on this grand event. Then, of course, I will give you my 10 most important things you need to look out for in the next year of investing. And that's Dell's, 10 tips, which I give every year. And then we're going to have parties. Just all kinds of parties after that. Actually, there's one big giant party. What am I talking about? Also, while we're here at the expo, there will be many lead investors that are going to have their own little private parties. We've registered a bunch of rooms for people who want to have a private party for people, so they can bring all their own personal, private passives in for one of these events to their private room and network all their passives together. And we also are going to have, and this is unbelievable, we have the giant networking meeting. When you see this, you won't believe it. We have registered 250 tables, and that's all we can squeeze in this room, of lead investors that want to meet you. And the bottom line is that these tables, each one of these people is a lead that does deals. So there are really more like 500 live leads at any one time, but we can't get them all in the room. So, these guys were willing to pay to lease out a table to network. So this is kind of a speed dating type of thing. You can get in there and meet these people. We'll have them divided up in sections and categories, so you can find the category of investor leads you're looking for and work your way through that. But all this is going on at the same time. It's just an incredible thing. Memberships. Lifestyles members can get in free, so you don't have to worry about that. But there are other additional things you can add on to. So if you want to go to this, you need to go to Lifestyles Unlimited and then hit the Expo button. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com and hit the Expo button. Or you can text Expo to 88007. Text Expo 88007. And we'll get back to you that way also, or something will come up. In fact, I need to do that, find out what actually happens. I don't know if we get back to you or if I think a website comes up or whatever. I'm not sure. But I know for sure if you go to lifestylesunlimited.com, you can find the Expo button and hit that, and it's all right there, everything, the entire bit. So we'll take a short break, be right back, and talk about these different case studies that were incredible. Be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're hearing the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Got questions? Email Del at askdel@luinc.com. That's askdel@luinc.com. More life-changing wisdom when Del returns in moments.
Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Wealth and Passive Income Expo, October 2nd through 5th. Learn to retire in 5 years or less. Gain one-on-one access to realtors, lenders, property and asset managers, apartment owners, national syndicators, and trade professionals. Learn from thousands of investors and expert wealth educators on single-family rentals, buying apartments, passive investing, and more. Text keyword EXPO to 88007. That's EXPO to 88007. 88007. Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. What will you learn on the Lifestyles Unlimited Multifamily Masters Tour?
This road trip was amazing. You learn a lot. You learn from A to D and in the in-between, and you meet a lot of wonderful people and a lot of folks that are interested in this and a lot of folks that are doing it.
October 2nd and 3rd. Ride along with the country's top apartment investors, owners, operators, and their mentors. Text EXPO to 88007 to attend. That's EXPO to 88007 to attend. Lifestyles Unlimited, the education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. I'm Jeff Davis with Just a Thought. 1 in 3 bridges we use every day are in need of structural repair or replacement. These are bridges millions of Americans, including school children, cross. We're playing Russian roulette with our safety. I've said this before, but the federal government has completely lost sight of priorities in favor of green passion projects, dealing with unchecked illegal immigration, and being involved in military conflict. In mass transit, our passenger train system is severely behind some other countries that really have fewer resources. China's high-speed rail is awesome in terms of travel experience and a network of 28,000 miles. The EU has about 5,000 miles. The United States, 171. That's ridiculous. A few years ago, I traveled on Amtrak from California to Florida and back, and it was fun, but it wasn't comfortable, and I wouldn't do it again, since a flight takes several hours and the train took 2 days. The U.S. government's waste of money and lack of attention is why we can't have nice things. Just a thought. I'm Jeff Davis. Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it. Want to build wealth, impacting your family for generations? Del Walmsley and his Lifestyles Unlimited team are educating folks just like you how to become real estate retired, even winning awards like Chad and Lisa.
This property, for you to have done what you've done, won the award, changed it around, done all the rehab, has got to be worth a lot more.
We purchased it for $8.275, and it's worth $19 million now. So
Wait, whoa. That is incredible. I can see why you won an award, and that's great.
With over 33 years teaching real people the roadmap to real estate retiring, we want to meet you. Join Lifestyles Unlimited for $297 and save 60% off the regular price. The Lifestyles Unlimited Financial Freedom Program. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297. That's $443 off the regular price. Text radio to 88007.
I always hear from our clients who hired another firm that they wish they'd hired DNA Financial first. Don't have regrets about your IRS tax case. Just hire the best in the first place.
One owed $150,000 to the IRS and had spent thousands on another firm. We stopped the levies, negotiated a payment plan, and had their penalties forgiven.
And while every case is different, we guarantee that we'll find your perfect resolution and get it done right.
For a free consultation, call us at 866-201-0156. That's 866-201-0156. Then you can say, DNA did right by me.
Retiring America, one person at a time. This is the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Now, more unconventional wisdom from your host, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today, I want you all to start thinking about the expo coming up, the Lifestyles Unlimited Wealth and Passive Income Expo. This is going to be October 2nd through 5th in Irving, Texas. And I went over last segment, everything about it, but the bottom line is this is a don't miss thing. All the members that know about this come every year. A lot of guests come every year, but the bottom line is it's somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 people that are coming to talk real estate, network, and take classes and learn for 3 days along with road trips. So you don't want to miss this. Now I wanted to talk about these case studies I did out in Richmond, Virginia. I got out there and, I hadn't met any of the people yet that were going to do the case studies. So I started, sat down with them and started discussing their stories a little bit, and I was really blown away. The first gentleman was going to demonstrate a house that he had purchased, and he purchased the house with very little that needed to be done, which is unusual for us because most of the houses we buy, we have renovations to do, and that's how we make them worth a lot more. So a typical example of what we would do for a single-family house is, and this is pretty much the average of what we're seeing right now in the last couple of weeks that I've been teaching again in a couple different cities, is that we're buying a house that would be worth $200,000 after repaired value and or $250,000 after repaired value, and we're buying it for $100,000 to $125,000, somewhere in that range. And then we're putting about $50,000 worth of renovation in it. So let's just take some round numbers that you can see in your mind as you're driving or whatever you're doing and over the radio without a calculator. But let's say that we can buy it for $100,000. It's worth $200,000. We put $50,000 in it. So we're going to have to come up with $150,000, $100,000 to buy the house and $50,000 to renovate the house. So we can go to a hard money lender, which I have a hard money lending company, but there's others out there, and we can borrow 75% of the after repaired value. Well, the after repaired value being $200,000, we can borrow $150,000. Well, that gives us the money to buy it and to renovate it. And the only thing we have to pay are the closing costs on the particular deal. Now, that's an amazing thing, because now once the renovation is done, the property's worth $200,000. And at that point, believe it or not, we can then go get a regular conventional loan at 75% of the after repaired value and get out of the hard money loan. So we get out of paying the high interest. We pay the high interest for the first 30 days, whatever it takes to renovate it. If it was 60 days, it would be 2 months worth of higher interest. And then boom, it flips over to a regular conventional loan. Now, you really want to blow your mind, right? Not only can you do that, but you can do it even if you don't have a job, because on conventional financing, right? And a guy pointed out to me at the case study, he said, that's not conventional finance, what you're talking about. And I said, yeah, it is conventional, but now that I thought about it, he's right, it's non-conforming financing. It doesn't conform to Fannie Mae's regulations. But non-conforming financing, we can now get you a DSCR loan, which is debt covered ratio loan, for 75% of the after repaired value. So whether we go with conventional Fannie Mae loan or we go with this DSCR loan, which we can get you even if you don't have a job, because it's taking the account, the house, what it's worth, and what its rent will be, to decide if they can lend you the money. It's almost like the apartment business, where we can do this lending against assets as opposed to lending against your credit. It's an amazing thing, right? Although in this particular case, your credit does make a difference on how high your interest rate will be on these loans. So now you get into the second loan, you have another set of closing costs, and you might be in this deal for $10,000, you might be in it for $15,000, but you just made $50,000. And in addition to that, you've got some cash flow, whether it be $200, $500, whatever it is in the particular deal you're doing. Well, back to this guy. So he was going to show a deal that was really amazing. This house didn't need a lot of repairs, but he wanted to make a large gain on it. And what he realized was, or what he knew, I think this guy knew it, was that if he put a second floor on this thing, second story, that the house would double in value, or really, it would be over $300,000 in value. So he did the comps and realized it was a fact and whatever, and got the permits and built the second story on this house. In doing so, buying it for $100, right, and now doing $100 in rehab, he's now at $200 and the property's worth $300. He made $100,000 in one deal. Now that blew my mind. I mean, I'm talking, this is some crazy stuff here. $100,000 in one deal, right? Turned around and he did it with this DSCR loan, and didn't even use conventional financing on the deal so that he could pull the cash out of the deal. And he pulled out $32,000. So we talk about investing money. This guy didn't invest anything. He came to the second closing and pulled out $32,000. Now remember, he made $100,000 in equity, but they let him take 30% of that $100,000 out, $32,000 bucks. Man, that just, when I saw this deal, I go, this is incredible. So I'm talking to the guy, I go, that it's really outside of our box. We don't build second stories. Tell me more about yourself. And he goes, well, I've done 175 houses. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute. This is a much larger story than what we're telling about a house. You've done 175 houses, yes, over 20, 30 years, whatever he said he was investing. He's probably my age, I guess, because he's been investing as long as I have. He says, I've renovated and or turned into rental properties and or sold 175 houses. And I said, well, then I've got to know, why did you join Lifestyles Unlimited? And he goes, because I thought there was something out there that I wanted to do when I went to the road trip. And he said, I went to Expo, and that's important about this, is I went to Expo, and I went on the bus tour, the 2-day bus tour, all 8 properties. And he said, by the time I got to the 8th property on the second day, I didn't even go into the property. And the guy that was there asked him, why are you not going in? You paid to see this. Why are you not? He goes, I don't need to see it. And the guy asked, why do you not need to see it? He goes, because every one you've shown me so far is exactly the same. They're perfect. And they all perfectly, exactly the same. And I tell the story all the time about how the National Apartment Association has a Real Estate Investor of the Year award. And we've won it the last 16 years in a row. Why? Because when you come to Lifestyles, you learn how to copy. You just copy what the great people do here. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to think it out. He said, I just wanted to get your model. And so I said, well, have you used it? He goes, 22 times. 22 different apartment complexes I'm in. And I said, holy smokes. So now he's done all these single-family houses, and he's building up all this passive apartment income in these apartment deals. But he still likes doing the rehabs and stuff just because it's his hobby. It's his hobby to do these deals. And then I asked him the really crazy question. I said, you got to be worth more than $1 million. He goes, more than 10, more than that, and 20. And that was the end of the story. We stopped talking at that point. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back to Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Teaching you with a roadmap to creating the lifestyle you really want. Keep listening. The Del Walmsley Radio Show returns in moments.
At Lifestyles Unlimited, we teach you the roadmap to retiring in 5 years or less through real estate investing. And you experience the reward of best product, best price, best people, and the difference it makes in your life and the life of others.
Whenever you have residents coming in and thanking you for, taking what was dull and drab and turning it around and making their life better, it's definitely a blessing.
Become a life changer today. Join Lifestyles Unlimited now for $297. That's 60% off the regular price of the Lifestyles Unlimited Financial Freedom Program. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007 for 60% off the regular price of the Lifestyles Unlimited Financial Freedom Program. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa on how our educators and mentors share their knowledge.
The whole Lifestyles Unlimited team is just wonderful, and all the people in it is basically copying what I do so you could be successful.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297 and save 60%. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa appreciates having mentors who have her back.
Having the faith to move forward, and y'all have everything provided. I could call a mentor and say, hey, I don't know what to do. Someone is always there to guide you. I have backup.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join now for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually. Tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pouty Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TaheeboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
Taheebo Tea Club's original Pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood, which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TaheeboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
Nestled in the heart of downtown San Bernardino is Living History and the place you want to be. On the internet, it's 320downtown.com. That's 320downtown.com. The Enterprise Building, with its rich interiors, it's a place so special you just have to see it. It's at 320 Northeast Street in downtown San Bernardino. The Enterprise Building is the heartbeat and entertainment life of downtown San Bernardino, as well as a distinguished space for your new office or building. You can grow with its newly renovated banquet area, meeting rooms, 320 bar, top deck terrace, and plenty of parking space with over 8,900 square feet of reasonable and available opportunity. Today, it's family owned and operated by Alicia, Alan, and their son Ryan. They've rolled out the red carpet and crafted a gracious space, keeping the historical feel of the building while providing the opportunity to create the future memories of your upcoming wedding or celebration. It's 320downtown.com. That's 320downtown.com. The Enterprise Building. It's downtown, waiting for you.
You're hearing the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Want more life-changing knowledge? Access our podcast and listen on demand at lifestylesunlimited.com under the radio tab. Now your host, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today I am starting you on the introduction to the Lifestyles Unlimited Passive Income Expo. And that is going to be on October 2nd through 5th in Irving, Texas. If you want to get tickets to this thing and you don't want to wait because the rooms sell out and the bus tickets sell out right away. Those are the two things. The bus tour to go to all the apartments, there's only eight buses. They sell out pretty quickly. And then the room blocks that we have set aside for people who are coming from out of town to be able to get a room right next to the convention center. So if you want to get in, you can text EXPO to 88007. That's EXPO. Text the word EXPO to 88007. Or you can go to lifestylesunlimited.com and click the Expo tab. This is October 2nd through 5th. Now I'm talking about the people I met at the Richmond, Virginia case study I just came back from, and they were quite interesting. The first guy I talked about in the last segment, the next gentleman was interesting. He is from another country, and he came over, to avoid, the ills of living in a communist country. Got over here, got himself a good job. His wife got a good job. They're working, making good money, and then he found out that the reality is that these engineering jobs, these good jobs, they lay you off. They come, they go, the economy changes, the politicians change, so the economy changes, and it goes back and forth. And this guy had been laid off 6 times, so he finally got irritated by it, heard me on the radio, and decided to come in and look into this stuff. So he looked into it, and he was pretty serious about it. So he joined up, became a passive investor, and within the first year, he had purchased into 16 different apartment complexes. No, I'm sorry, it was 17 different apartment complexes. And he was anticipating that the cash flow from these 17 different apartment complexes were going to be about $60,000 a year. So you're looking at the fact that you can earn $60,000 a year tax-free because the income is covered by depreciation. So in doing so, that would be equivalent to about $90,000 if you're in the 30% tax bracket. You'd have to earn $90,000 a year, right, to be able to replace this $60,000 worth of income. So I asked him what his goal was, what was he going to do. He said, I'm going to keep buying. He said, I look to buy anywhere from 2 to 4 deals a year. But he had bought all of these, believe it or not, since January of 23. So that's, what is that, a year and a half he has purchased 17 apartment complex deals. His goal, he said, is to purchase, 2 or 3 more this year and to get up to where he can replace his wife's income and she can retire. And then he's going to keep buying so that he can replace his own income and retire. So these are 2 high-income earning, highly educated people that don't want to work there anymore. I mean, they're tired of getting laid off. They're tired of going through all of the problems of finding another job and, learning a new boss's whims and desires, et cetera, and being forced to move even because you want to go to a new job and it's somewhere else. All of these types of challenges he wanted to avoid. And within just that short period of time, that 18 months, he's already placed up to $60,000, which is, like I said, equivalent to 90. You've got to understand this. When you earn money, you pay taxes. When you earn real estate income done correctly, the taxes are avoided. And they're avoided as long as you don't sell the property. Then if you sell the property, you can do a 1031 exchange and move that forward so that that gain you would have made gets moved forward. And you continue to do that if you want to until you die. Why would you want to continue to do it till you die? Because number one, you don't pay the taxes. But number two, the taxes go away when you die. Your family does not inherit your tax debt. Your family inherits the real estate, but not the tax debt due to it because of the depreciation. The depreciation starts all over again. So there you are. You're living off of this. He builds this up. He gets to 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. And all that income is tax-free. So you keep going and going and going. And the interesting point is that I've been doing this for 34 years. So you got to figure this out, guys. Think about it kind of casually here and think, okay, if this guy can do this much in just 18 months, what do you think Dell has done over 34 years? I don't even want you to think about it because it'd blow your mind if you knew how much accumulation there is if you do it correctly over and over and over and over and over and over. Just like the guy in the last segment I told you about told me he's worth over $20 million. How much more I didn't get exactly. I didn't want to put that upon him to give me the exact numbers. But the bottom line is, if you keep doing this over long periods of time, you're going to be really, really, really wealthy. And if you just do it to start with, you're at least going to be able to build up enough passive income to get out of your job. There are many of you out there right now that could live on take-home pay of $60,000, which would be equivalent to $90,000 if you're in the 30% tax bracket, $80,000 if you're in the 20% tax bracket. You follow what I'm saying here? So, but you have to, if you're making $80,000, be in at least the 20% tax bracket, probably 30. In fact, I think you are in the 30% tax bracket. Many of you could retire on that. And the next thing you need to understand is retirement doesn't have anything to do with age. Whether you're 25 or 35, you could retire. I retired at 34 years of age. Now, that doesn't mean I just went off and went fishing or played golf. it meant that I just didn't have to get up and go to a job ever again. Never went back. And just kept accumulating more real estate. Now, there is investment of time in operating your businesses, which whether you have houses, at one time I had over 100 houses. It had an investment of time, very little though, but an investment of time. I had it set up very effectively. If you come to the 2-day seminar, you'll learn how I did it and how we do it here. Or then I moved to small apartments. Then I moved to medium apartments. And at those points, those things, take a little time because you're the boss, but you're not the manager. So somebody's managing it for you, and they call you if they got a question or if there's a decision to be made. You're going to have to make a decision here and there. And you're going to have to make sure payroll gets done by your bookkeeper and that all that is done, and that's it. You're not going to work every day. It's not a job. If you understand that, then you understand how beautiful it is. Even today, I own many, many, many companies, and I don't work in any of those companies except Lifestyles Unlimited, which is where I'm doing a radio show for right now. Sometimes I teach a class, and for years I hadn't even taught classes. I had a staff that did everything. I'm just getting involved again because we're coming out of just the most disastrous time I've ever seen in my life. The administration running the country right now, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but these people, this is a dude that's almost dead and a woman that's almost stupid, that can't even think. She can't answer questions. She won't even have a press conference. This is the worst economy I've ever seen, run by the two dumbest people I've ever seen since I was a kid. I used to think Jimmy Carter was the dumbest president there ever was. Jimmy Carter was brilliant compared to these two. I mean, he was smart as a whip compared to these two. He had bad political instincts, but he was at least smart. These two are dumb as a rock. And the bottom line is, that's why I've come back, is because the economy is so difficult for people. I figured I better get back out there and start helping people personally, get them motivated again to get out and make some changes. And that's why I've been going to case studies. I've been going to seminars. I even did a 2-day seminar. And now you need to get to the expo. You need to get the motivation to change your life. Because if you leave it to these people to change your life for you, they're going to destroy your life. You need to get out there and take a hold of your own life and make it better. Right? So I want you to come to the expo. The expo is the most incredible thing I've ever been a part of. We started it about 8 or 9 years ago, and it's just grown every year. If you want to go to it, text EXPO to 88007. That's text EXPO to 88007, or go to lifestylesunlimited.com and hit the expo button. Get yourself registered. There's all different ways you can register very inexpensively, too. You can get the whole shebang where you're spending like 3 to 4 days with me on almost every moment of the time. It's up to you what you want to do. All worth it. Even the lowest price ticket is worth it. So we're going to take another break. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Curious about today's teaching? Want to know more? Attend a free workshop. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com. More life-changing principles in moments when the Del Walmsley Radio Show continues.
Lifestyles Unlimited wants you real estate retired. Learn the roadmap to wealth building. Impact your family for generations. Just like Lifestyle members Chad and Lisa.
They're learning the rope. They see this in their future too. It's benefited our children in the way they think of their future. It's taught them how to think in the millions.
Learn from the best. Lifestyles Unlimited, teaching you how to retire in 5 years or less while building generational wealth in this rapidly changing environment. Now's the time to take action. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007 for a 60% savings off the regular price. Our Financial Freedom Program membership for $297. That's $443 off our regular price. With over 33 years of educating and mentoring experience, let Lifestyles Unlimited help you become real estate retired. Text radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Del Walmsley interviews Chad and Lisa.
This property, for you to have done what you've done, won the award, changed it around, done all the rehab, has got to be worth a lot more.
We purchased it for $8.275, and it's worth $19 million now. So.
Wait, whoa. That is incredible. I can see why you won an award, and that's great.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007 for a $297 membership. Save $443 off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. Lifestyles Unlimited. The education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Do you have questions you'd like to ask Del? Do so by emailing your question to askdel@luinc.com. Del answers his email and often shares his answers on air so others grow and learn as well.
I have a long one here. So I currently have around $1 million in equity in 13 single-family rentals, which I started buying 2 years ago. $250,000 cash from the recent sale of 2 rentals, and $250,000 equity in my personal home, getting a HELOC next month. I need to double the $1.5 million or one more time to get to $3 million equity position that I can then concentrate on an 8 to 10% return to get my targeted monthly income between $20,000 and $25,000 a month. Currently, I have $7,000 to $8,000 a month in cash flow. Pretty good cash flow, huh? I can still find single-family deals that I can capture enough equity.
Do you have questions you'd like to ask Del? Do so by emailing your question to askdel@luinc.com. Keep listening. Your host, multimillionaire and national award-winning investor, Del Walmsley, continues in seconds.
Lifestyles Unlimited member Chad on the life-changing rewards of real estate investing.
Whenever you have residents coming in thanking you for taking what was dull and drab and turning it around, making their lives better, that's definitely a blessing.
Become a life changer today with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% off savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. Lifestyles Unlimited, the education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Here's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar. Today is Election Day. The election deadline, March 5th. Don't lay down silently tonight without voting today. The deadline to support our democracy is 8 p.m. tonight. Vote. California is an all-mail ballot voting state. That means everyone got a ballot in the mail. There are only a few candidates and only one initiative on the ballot this time around. We're voting for president, United States senator, our local candidates, and one ballot initiative. It's simple. You can vote in 5 minutes or less. Mail it at the post office or drop it off at a voting center. But vote. And if you can't find your ballot or you don't want to mail it, you can find your closest voting center at the website of your local county registrar of voters. If you're not registered to vote, you can still vote too. It's not too late. You can go to your local registrar of voters. Register and vote provisionally. You can register today and vote today. If you lost or threw your ballot out by accident, you can get another ballot at your local voting center or your local county registrar of voters. In San Bernardino County, you can find your registrar of voters at sbcountyelections.com. That's sbcountyelections.com. In Riverside County at voteinfo.net. That's voteinfo.net. Or for more info, you can check the California Secretary of State's website at sos.ca.gov. That's sos.ca.gov. Vote for those who sacrificed. Vote for the ones you love today and those you will know and love tomorrow. So vote. Vote by today, Tuesday, March 5th at 8 p.m. It's easy. And that's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar.
Sun City Plumbing reminds everyone Let's not forget about the brave men and women who stand guard. Show your appreciation with letters, care packages, or a simple thank you. Our support will keep America strong. This reminder, courtesy of Sun City Plumbing in Sun City. They're the professionals serving the area with quality, integrity, and dependability. For service or an estimate, call Sun City Plumbing at 951-679-5501.
Do you have a debt problem? Are you being sued for an unpaid debt? Is your paycheck being garnished or your bank account emptied out? Do you feel like you're running out of options? The Fullman Firm is your friendly local law firm next door and has helped thousands of people just like you. Give us a call at 833-FULLMAN and see if we can help you too. It's a free confidential consultation. You have nothing to lose. For debts above $7,000, give us a call at 833-FULLMAN or check out FullmanFirm.com. That's 833-FULLMAN. The Fullman Firm. Let our lawyers get you on the path to financial freedom. The proceeding is not intended as a guarantee or estimate of the outcome of your case. Every case is unique and past results are not indicators of the success of your case. Take control of your financial future and call 833-FULLMAN or visit FullmanFirm.com now.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Got a question? Call 855-497-4DEL. That's 855-497-4335. Or email Del at askdel@luinc.com.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we are discussing the case study that I went to out in Richmond, Virginia. But I'm also starting to integrate you into the next big thing Lifestyles has coming up that I want you to attend, which is the Lifestyles Unlimited Wealth and Passive Income Expo and Masters Tour, which is the road trip with the buses. You do not want to miss this. It's just so exciting. Now, speaking of multifamily, the next person I want to talk to you about is going to be just to be one of the most exciting things that you could even think of. But before I do, for those of you who want to get registered for this expo, you need to get in right away because the bus tours will sell out and the room blocks in the hotels will sell out. So you want to get in. You can register right up to the day of the event, don't get me wrong, but you will have a hard time getting a room if you're coming from out of town, and you won't get on the bus tour because it will sell out. Now that I'm advertising for it, it may not last even a week. I don't know. But if you want to get registered, you can either text EXPO to 88007, text EXPO to 88007, or you can go to lifestylesunlimited.com and hit the Expo button. Either one will work. lifestylesunlimited.com, hit the Expo button. This event is October 2nd through 5th, and it's in Irving, Texas. So you don't want to miss out. I'll go over and over again before the end of the time that it arrives, what all's in it. I'll have people on the next couple of days explaining it and giving you insight. But I'm just telling you up front, for those of you already know you want to go, those you've been before or those you've heard about it, you don't want to wait because the bus tour sells out and the room blocks right next to the hotels sell out. So that's why you want to get in there right away. All right, having said that, let's talk about the next most exciting thing in my mind. When I got up there to Richmond, there was a young gentleman that was the case study for multifamily. This kid's only 20 years old. Now think about this. 20 years old doing an apartment deal, right? So let's talk about some outstanding things. The property was only a 10-unit apartment complex, and he had to raise $1 million to do the deal. And I asked him how long it took him to raise the deal. Now remember, he's 20 years old, right? 20 years old. So how long did it take you to raise the money here at Lifestyles? 6 hours. No, you didn't just hear that. Del, you didn't just say that, right? He raised $1 million from other Lifestyles members in 6 hours. That's all it took. So he purchased the property, did his renovations, raised his rents, and the property had a 3-year plan put together that he thought it would take him 3 years to completely turn it around. And 18 months later, he had it all done. So he jumped on it right away, got it all done. It was only 10 units. The 3-year plan was probably a little extensive, but he saw that he'd already hit his pro forma numbers by the 18th month that he would have hit for the 3-year plan. And so he elected to go ahead and sell the property, and he did. So here's the numbers. He made $600,000 worth of profit in 18 months on $1 million invested. That's unbelievable, guys. Can you imagine? Let's just first of all say it's you by yourself. You got $1 million. It's sitting in your 401k. You go buy a small apartment like this and you make $1 million. You invest your $1 million, and 18 months later you made $600,000. Tell me how that happens anywhere else. It doesn't happen in the stock market. It doesn't happen in the annuity market. It just doesn't happen, right? But let's take it another step. You got into this deal and you made that rate of return and didn't do a thing. You were just passive. You know? So you take whatever rate of return that would be, right? And I think it's going to be somewhere around a 60% rate of return. You take that and say, I can earn 60% of my money in 18 months. That's pretty impressive. So you got $100,000. What do you get back? You get back $160,000? Think about that. That's impressive. Now, I thought the most impressive part was a 20-year-old kid. And his father was there in the audience and just beaming it from ear to ear to ear. And he asked him, do you want to go to college? We've had this happen time and time and time again. Do you want to go to college? The kid was in college. He did all this while he was taking college classes. Now his best friend saw him do this, and his best friend dropped out of college to do it. Wow. When you look at this, think you're going to work for the rest of your life. This kid found out how to make $600,000 in 18 months. Do you really think he's going to go to school and get a job? He'll never have a job. If you learn how to do this at 20 years of age, you'll never have a job. I'm excited to say he's probably going to be a retired millionaire by the time he's 25 years old, if not sooner. It's just unbelievable. And by the way, I'm going to have him at the expo, so you want to make sure you come to the expo. In fact, I'm going to have 2 or 3 kids just like this that made millions as kids. Made millions as kids, all right? At the expo. It's one of the things I'm going to present up there. So you don't want to miss out on this. So go to lifestylesunlimited.com and go to the expo button. Get the info. Get involved because, man, if you could learn how to do this at an early age, guys, if you're out there and you're young, you listen to this, let's get going. Guys, if you're old and you don't have a lot of time left in your life, let's get going. Get on this and get going. What is more important, to be able to retire early and have the rest of your life to live a great life and not have to work like I did? Or is if you're old and you don't see retirement in the future, find a way to finally get there? Which one's more important? I actually think being old and not having a way to retire would really bug me. That I think would be the scariest. But being young and retired at 34 years of age and been able to do whatever I want, when I want, with whomever I want, and have the money to do it, whew, what a blessing. A lot of other people, somebody has to get up and go to work every day for the world to run. There's no doubt about that. But just operating your own business and not have to get up and go to work. That's an incredible thing. And that's what I hope y'all are going to learn. Let's get to the expo. Text expo 88007 or go to lifestylesunlimited.com. Remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Want more of Del's unconventional wisdom? Go to lifestylesunlimited.com and click the radio tab. Listen to past shows, hear podcasts on demand, and find out how you can change your life today. The Del Walmsley Radio Show is part of the Lifestyles Unlimited Radio Network.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley Radio Show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Millions are without power and dozens are dead after Hurricane Helene slammed the southeastern U.S. Some of the heaviest damage is from severe flooding, with the city of Asheville, North Carolina, nearly cut off from the outside world.
It's beyond anything I've ever seen in my lifetime.
We're very fortunate that we're alive.
Entire houses are missing or flattened in on themselves.
The city of about 95,000 remains isolated with almost no cell phone or internet coverage. Over 400 roads and several major highways were closed in North Carolina alone. Helene roared onto the Florida coast Thursday with 140-mile-an-hour winds and left a trail of destruction across the region. Officials say at least 63 deaths have been confirmed in multiple states, including Georgia, Florida, and the Carolinas. Overseas, Israel claims another major Hezbollah figure has been killed following more missile strikes into Lebanon today. Israel's military said it killed Nabil Kauk, deputy head of Hezbollah's Central Council. The IDF posted on social media that Kauk had been with Hezbollah for about 40 years and was directly engaged in terrorist attacks. Kauk's death comes 2 days after IDF airstrikes killed Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. An American astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut are on their way to the International Space Station. The SpaceX Dragon Freedom Storm took off from Florida's Cape Canaveral Saturday and is scheduled to dock with the space station late this afternoon. NASA astronaut Nick Hague and cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov will join Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who've been at the space station a few weeks longer than scheduled due to technical issues. All four astronauts are scheduled to return to Earth on or about October 7th. Week 4 of the NFL kicks off today. The Minnesota Vikings will be in Green Bay to take on the Packers. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
We've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. Your ballots are in the mail. Mail them in today. Now there's something to vote for because there's a new marshal in town. Vote Derek Marshall for 23rd Congress.
Y'all know we need to change Congress. The current Congress does nothing but fight with each other. They've forgotten why we sent them there, to work. Let's marshal and fix our problems at the border. A comprehensive plan, not political rhetoric and infighting.
Yes, there's a new marshal in town.
The rent is too darn high. Let's marshal in affordable housing and real affordable universal health care. Better union jobs.
The current Congress member put his party first and not people. But there's a new marshal in town.
Our incumbent party politician voted no on the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill. He voted no to $3 billion in new funds for our district and no to 35,000 new jobs right here at home. He said, we need a secure border, but now he's rolled it back to play politics. We need to marshal real solutions.
Vote for Derek Marshall, because we've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. You can go to DerekMarshallCA.com, paid for by Derek Marshall for Congress.
My name is Derek Marshall, and I approve this message.
What is your plan for your beneficiaries to manage your final expenses when you pass away? Life insurance, annuities, bank accounts, investment accounts, all require a death certificate, which takes 10 days based on the national average, which means no money is immediately available, and this causes stress and arguments. Simple solution, the beneficiary liquidity plan. Use money you already have No need to come up with additional funds. The funds grow tax-deferred and pass tax-free to your named beneficiaries. The death benefit is paid out in 24 to 48 hours without a death certificate. You heard me right. Without a death certificate. Call us at 1-800-306-5086.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
AM radio provides always-on news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports. It also delivers vital emergency information when your community needs it most. A new bill in Congress would ensure AM radio stays in your car, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service is critical. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
KCAA.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary-Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. Long-time organizer, first-time radio host. And got some more people coming into the studio right now. We're going to have a full list of guests throughout our show over the next couple hours. Good to obviously be back. And got a lot of good feedback from last week's show. Even as controversial as the subject has a tendency to be. I'll talk a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. But really... as a recap of last week, want to talk about how we appreciate that the former general president came out and talked about the scholarship fund and talked about how many people have benefited from that scholarship fund, as well as how many of you could apply for it. If you are obviously a Teamster, you can apply for that scholarship fund. And, I know that from his perspective is something he spent his entire life trying to build towards, and it's good to see that it came to fruition in '99. It's still paying out more than $1 million a year in scholarships as of today. And the James R. Hoffa Memorial Scholarship Fund is just an incredible, program, and it's obviously sponsored many, many young adults into their higher education or trades. And again, we appreciate Jim coming on and talking about that. We also had Taylor Gonzalez come on from her vintage resale shop in Yucaipa. And she did a really good job of explaining some of the really cool stuff that they sell there, and obviously a new partnership there with Teamster Advantage. And she'll be coming out to some of our larger events with a booth here pretty soon. So, Taylor, thanks for coming on. If you're listening, we appreciate you being a small business, and what a creative way to approach some vintage stuff. If you didn't listen to last week's show, please go back and listen and hear the stories of kind of what they do to resell product that, you'd be surprised at what people want, even though it's a little older, it's been used. whether it's clothes, shirts, jeans, stuff like that, jackets. It's really good to see, stuff being repurposed and reused, and obviously them making a business out of a small business in Yucaipa. Great job. And obviously we had Connie on, Connie Bottini, one of our librarians with San Bernardino County. She did a phenomenal job through, over her more than 30 years of doing the job. She did a great job being on the show and talking about all the cool things that happen in the library. We're so far removed today with electronics that we forget how important having a library is and actually having books are. And so thank you, Connie, and thank you to all those librarians out there that are listening in or can listen or don't listen. You do a great job, and you inspire a lot of people to, I guess, look at the world through a different set of eyes. I also want to just take a quick moment to talk about the subject that I spent probably about 30 minutes on, which is the lack of endorsement from the IBT, and I explained kind of why the lack of endorsement in the presidential election happened, but also explained that other parts of the organization had issued endorsements. And it sparked people being upset, and I can tell you, literally just a couple hours before I went on the air last week is when the announcement of there being no endorsement from the International Brotherhood of Teamsters in Washington, D.C., that sparked a huge debate that happened over a few days, and like everybody kicked up a bunch of dust and got mad one way or another. And I was able to, read and see a lot of some of the comments. And one of the things that I tried to explain on the show, as I did last night at the membership meeting at Teamsters Local 1932, is can we be a little nicer to each other? Let's be direct here. Seeing some of the things that people say to each other in this space sometimes, the insults that come out so fast, and the anger and the criticism and the demeaning that happens from some people when you don't like what you hear is why we can't resolve anything most of the time. Look, this is 2024, and we're supposed to be a little more civilized, and we should be able to agree to disagree from time to time. And just today I saw some things being posted where people want to be angry and mad and make some comments, and I'm going to be very direct right now. I instructed our comms people, anything that's disparaging to our organization, you take it down, period. Delete it. And people can be mad all they want. We didn't create Facebook or Instagram or these spaces for you to vent about something that you got really mad about this moment and you disagree with. If you want to go on there and say, hey, I disagree, respectfully, I disagree, and I think we should do A, B, and C, and you say it in a very respectful manner, no one's going to take that kind of stuff down. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to disagree. But to say some things that we've all witnessed and we all know that's going on here in the last few years, it's time that we just become better with each other, and we become a little more, courteous to one another, and we just stop because it doesn't get anybody anywhere other than upsetting people more and driving you further away from finding any resolve for anything. And so I really appreciate the feedback from a lot of people last night and over the last few days, specifically last night, regarding the discussion we had last week over the no endorsement, and also why we believed that certain candidates were supportive of labor and were not supportive of labor. There is facts that drive these decisions, and I will remind everybody, as I said last week, I personally have spent my entire adult life doing this, my entire adult life, in the space of advocating for working people. And that space has taught me how to kind of understand how bills, legislation, anything that's being propped up, measures, propositions, to read them, understand them, and recognize the full impact, not a 15-second soundbite on a commercial, not what my favorite politician says or doesn't say, but more so understanding the real impact of policy that's been created over a long period of time. And spending my entire adult life in this space, I hope that that creates a little bit of credibility to just understand and respect the position. Even if we disagree with it, it's okay. You know, when we're frustrated, maybe we vent a little bit to ourselves, but I was once told by somebody who was very, very smart that it's okay to have your thoughts that you don't share with people because they're your thoughts, and just because they're your thoughts doesn't mean they have to be shared with everybody because, quite frankly, just because we're thinking it doesn't mean we have to say it. And there's a lot of truth in that, especially when it comes to the volatility of politics and, quite frankly, the volatility of politics today. Any endorsement or lack thereof of endorsements that happen in the space of labor has everything to do with whether or not these individuals support working people, period. Policies that they have either started or created, policies in which they have eliminated or taken out or fought, and positions and actions and activities in which they've done over a period of time. So, again, I really appreciate many of you that talked about the way we discussed the issue last week, as well as last night at our membership meeting, and explaining why certain positions were taken. And it helped me feel more at ease with taking the position because, you know, sometimes when you're an elected leader or you're a leader or you're in a position where you do have the microphone in front of you, or you're the person that's in charge of an organization, you just take all the energy, and it's usually negative most of the time, that you're having to sort through and you're having to figure out, am I on the right path or am I not on the right path? So for all of you that have reached out to me, I want to thank you because it helps me. It helps me understand. No different than we have asked for a lot of feedback in how we've built out this show. And understanding, as we build worker power in the industry, as we build great relationships with the small business community, as we help working people and help small business and help our community in all the ways that we're doing, we're using and utilizing this show and this platform to explain all the good things. I'm not going to come on here, and if I disagree with something my general president did or some other local union did, and use it to disparage everybody and beat everybody up. That's not positive. That's not productive. That's a negative environment that we can't inspire other workers to do the things that they need to do when they're at work. So with that, once again, one last time, I really appreciate the fact that you shared those thoughts with me. It was helpful to me. Please continue to do that as time goes on. If you see things or don't like certain things that we're doing on the show, I definitely want to hear from you. I also, if you like things that we're doing on the show, please let me know, because that helps me gauge what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how often, and the adjustments we make as time goes on. And so I'm going to shift into the next part of the show, which is our live shout-outs. We have some really cool live shout-out from the City of Needles, Christina Perret and Tony Rubicaba. And they are with Bella the dog. They are I believe they work in the animal shelter there in the City of Needles. And they're with Bella the dog, who has been waiting to be adopted for a year. So if you're in Needles or you're going through Needles and you want to adopt a dog, guess what? You've got someone there. And I hope that Bella likes the show as well. So those of you that are listening in Needles, you make sure that give her a treat while the show's on. That way she wags the tail and we'll know that she's enjoying the show. Next live shout out is from ARMC Justin Carrasco, as well as Teresa Perciato, Jeremy Lopez, Chaz Kelly. Actually saw all of them at the membership meeting last night. From TAD, we got Ivan Cruz and Jason Nugent listening in live. We have more listening live. We just don't have the list on us. And so if you're listening live and we missed you, feel free to send it in. We'll cover you on the next show, and we'll say hi. So my next part of my show is the Thank a Teamster and 3 Teamster jobs. For those of you that haven't seen the Thank a Teamster program that we've built out, there are buses and billboards and everything going on within the Inland Empire, where we're reminding everybody of all these cool jobs that Teamsters do all over the country, and specifically here in the IE. And we have their pictures on the side of the buses and the billboards, and just thanking a Teamster. And this is, I know a lot of people, it's a favorite part of their job, because they get to hear not just a job that Teamsters do, because we do represent everything from airline pilots to zookeepers, A to Z. And we get to describe a little bit of what these jobs are, too, and it sometimes catches people by surprise. And so here's the 3 Teamster jobs that we're going to talk about today. One is the Code Compliance Officer in the city of Big Bear. And so the next time you're in Big Bear, you're up there, either if you're up there helping them fight a fire here recently, and, shout out to all those firefighters and the crews and support staff to make sure that they contained all those. But if you're up there in the city of Big Bear for recreation, or you live up there, those code compliance officers for the city are responsible for ensuring that properties and businesses comply with the local laws, regulations, and ordinances related to public health, safety, property maintenance, and their primary goal is to maintain the overall quality of life in the community by enforcing codes designed to protect the residents' property and the environment. And sometimes they're not their favorite person, but sometimes they are the favorite person, because if your neighbor or a business in the area or something that's going on is not up to code or not up to speed, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we're overregulated. There's too many rules." Look, let's be clear. If we don't have rules and we don't have some regulations, we know what's going to happen, and people take it too far and they end up poisoning our water and doing things that they shouldn't do. That's clearly been shown over thousands of years of time and history. And so we really appreciate the work that these code compliant officers do, and making sure that things are, think about it if you're handicapped and you need to make sure that you have access to particular areas. And maybe for the business owner or for the space that's got to deal with it, it's an inconvenience to them, but think of how much of an inconvenience it is to an individual who's in a wheelchair and is looking for access to something. We have to typically try to think about it from a perspective like that. And so we really appreciate that, as well as we appreciate them making sure that you have the food safety issues at let's say you're going to go to a restaurant, that all those codes are being enforced properly to make sure that you are comfortable when you go to a restaurant and you're